This is a reading from the magazine titled Signs and Wonders for Our Times. It was published in 2007. There will be a great awakening of my chosen sons. February 25th, 2005, 12:30 p.m. My people, this world will no longer be as you have come to know it. I will not bring you these words of love, of great warning, much longer. My people, take heed to the opportunity that has been given to you. Take heed to the true teaching of my church, for there will be great division amongst you. There will be a great awakening of my chosen sons, of those who stand for the truth and those who do not. My people, prepare the state of your soul for my place of refuge. My places of refuge have been prepared all around this world, and my angels will lead you, and I will multiply your gifts there, for whoever trusts in me will find comfort and joy, for I never abandon my children. This is an hour of great change, and these events are just beginning. Many hardships will transpire for all mankind. This is not an hour to be a witness for the world. Rather, witness the message, the gospel message. My people, live your mission by standing for the truth. These events of awakening are a result of the number of my little ones killed through abortion. My commandments are being destroyed. One by one, hour by hour, mankind continues to step ahead of me. The just hand of my Father is about to strike, for as the earth begins to show signs of new life, mankind will be awakened by great love and mercy. Your days are numbered. Behold the signs, for they are multiplying, leading you to a great chastisement. My people, come to me, for this time of warning will soon expire. Now go forth, for I am Jesus, and be at peace, for my mercy and justice will prevail. The division in my church will soon come to light. May 23rd, 2005, 6:45 p.m. My people, so few come, so few respond to me in my most blessed sacrament. So many seek more messages, yet few are responding to the words that I have given. So few respond to the only true love that man can receive. My people, there is not one amongst you that can love your neighbor to the depth of your Creator. My love for you is complete. It is whole. It is flawless. It is unconditional. Come to me. Take my hand, for my messages of warning are dwindling. They are coming to a time of expiration. Be on guard and stay awake, for this earth will begin to awaken in areas not foreseen by mankind. The seas are no longer calm. Vessels that have been sleeping will soon awaken. Awaken at the hands of evil. The division in my church will soon come to light, and one by one I will weed out those who choose darkness, and those who choose light will remain. This is the hour to gather your children and bring them to the sacraments. Guide them, dear parents, into the light of my love, for their Father awaits their coming. Do not lose hope if your children have strayed, for your mission is prayer. Your mission is to be a witness to them of the truth, for I am Jesus, the way, the truth, and the life. Teach your children the chaplet of my most divine mercy, for it is then they will come to know the depth of my mercy, the depth of my love. Guide your children away from the distractions of the world, and guard them from a world that seeks to trap their soul, a world that manifests evil and diminishes the work and love of his Creator, for I am Jesus. My people, if your words to your neighbor are not spoken in love, you are not imitating your Master. If you seek to respond to evil with evil, you are not imitating your Master. If your actions do not reflect bringing your Heavenly Father greater glory and honor, then your ways are not my ways, and your ways will become simplified. If your daily work keeps you away from time in prayer, then your work holds no merit in my kingdom. Offer your work to me, and use your tools wisely, so you are always open to my words, my light, my love. This is the hour of warning, for streams of light shall pour forth from heaven and shine into the souls of mankind, for all will know the state of their soul. All will see themselves through the eyes of their Creator. Now go forth, for I am Jesus, and be at peace, for all will be done according to my will, for my mercy and justice will prevail. After the warning, My warning is the final act of mercy that will be given to mankind. The temptation that will follow will be unprecedented as the storms, disease, and wars follow. There will only remain a small remnant. January 2nd, 2006, 11:30 a.m. My people, my words of warning are soon to expire. The day is approaching. The closing of the hour is at hand. I have called all to this time of prayer because it is only through prayer that you will be given the grace to endure the changes that are on the horizon. My words have been spoken for as this time of warning comes, you will see my mercy in its fullness, and the events that will follow will change this world as you have come to know it. My warning is the final act of mercy that will be given to mankind. It will be a moment of opportunity for mankind. It will be a moment of opportunity for mankind to see what is not pleasing to me. It will be a time of judgment to awaken your souls to prepare for your final judgment. The temptation that will follow will be unprecedented, for this will be a time when you will need to place your full trust in me, for I am Jesus. Those who do not take heed to my mercy will only pass through the door of my justice. Not one will be spared, for all people, every man, woman, and child, every leader from every nation, all my priests, all bishops, all your sisters and brothers. And as the storms, disease, and wars follow, there will only remain a small remnant. The world will know it has rejected its master, yet many will still continue to turn away from me and be forever lost in the darkness. There will be a war over money, food, and medicine. It will be a simplification not foreseen by mankind. Brother will hand over brother, for your true obedience to my commandments will be tested. My people, take heed and pray, for this time of my grace and mercy is soon to expire. Take heed to each day, each hour that you are given, for the hour is growing shorter, and all will see the fullness of my love. Now go forth in my mercy and love, for I am Jesus, and my justice is soon to prevail. The bibliography might be of interest. The first reference quoted is Catholic Prophecy, The Coming Chastisement by Yves Dupont. I read that one already. The second is Marie-Julie Jaheny, The Breton Stigmatist, Marquis de la Frangerie, MMR Publishing. The third one is Apparitions, Betania, Venezuela, Sister Margaret Catherine Sims. Fourth is To the Priests, Our Lady's Beloved Sons, The Marian Movement of Priests, Reverend Albert G. Roux. 5. The Great Sign, Volume 1, Messages to Sadie Jaramillo, St. Dominic's Media. Number 6, Please Come Back to Me and My Son, by R. Vincent, Ireland's Eye Publications. Number 7, The Great Sign, Volume 2, Messages to Sadie Jaramillo, St. Dominic's Media. Number 8, Heaven's Messages for the Family, Volume 2, 1999, Messages to Janie Garza. And number 9, Heaven's Messages for the Family, Volume 1, 1998, Messages to Janie Garza, St. Dominic's Media. The Calm Before the Storm, Reverend Joseph M. Esper. It's entirely possible that what we do or fail to do during the remaining months of 2007 may have a major impact on the physical and spiritual well-being of ourselves and our loved ones over the next few years. Well, here we are in 2020, and I have to say, many of the things that were predicted haven't happened, but many other things have happened. One of the things that has happened is there appears to be a controversy within the church. I remember one phrase from the Marian Movement of Priests, where she said back in the 1990s, Our Lady said back in the 1990s to Father Gobi that you will see bishop against bishop, cardinal against cardinal. And at the time I thought, wow, that's a pretty stark prediction. but yet I am beginning to see precisely that. So in the year 2020, we're seeing some of these predictions starting to come true. Let's continue with the article. This is a provocative statement, to be sure, but a strong case can be made that America as we know it is about to undergo significant changes, and that each one of us will inevitably be affected. It's long been apparent to any thoughtful observer that our society cannot continue on its present course indefinitely. A rising tide of immorality and violence, self-indulgence and licentiousness, and spiritual arrogance and complacency is undermining our nation's moral foundations and steadily pushing God out of public life. School children are instructed in sinful behavior, for example, the use of condoms and the acceptance of homosexuality, but not taught about the vital role of religion in the founding of our country. Language and behavior that would have been found abhorrent by earlier generations is routinely presented on primetime television. Entertainers compete with each other in efforts to reach ever more shocking levels of moral rebellion and degeneracy, and the pornography industry, now readily available via the internet, is growing astronomically. A generation of young people is in grave spiritual danger, with millions of persons, especially those in our cities, at risk of becoming lost souls due to woefully substandard education and politically correct indoctrination, drug and alcohol abuse, gang violence, broken homes, and a host of other social pathologies. A sense of entitlement, along with a system of government paternalism, is robbing many of our fellow citizens of the opportunity and desire to discover the importance of honest work, perseverance, and the use of their God-given gifts and abilities. Idealistic young people are searching for meaning in life, but too often our society hands them a stone instead of bread. Ongoing corruption on the part of leaders in government, business, and, sad to say, religion, breeds a sense of cynicism and despair. A majority of Americans claim to believe in God, and certainly America is more religious than Europe and other parts of the world, but many residents of the United States seem to be practical atheists. That is, their belief in God's existence has no noticeable effect on their lifestyles and values. Civil liberties traditionally taken for granted by Americans are increasingly at risk. At the onset of a terrorism-related crisis, whether real or manufactured, executive orders can in effect suspend the Constitution, confiscate any property the government deems necessary for national security purposes, and detain indefinitely anyone deemed a threat to the established order, all without debate or recourse. Ours is quickly becoming a surveillance society, in which radio frequency identification, RFID chips, allow governments and corporations to monitor the financial transactions and movements of unsuspecting citizens. A thorough and frightening description of this threat is given in the 2005 book Spy Chips by Catherine Albrecht and Liz McIntyre. Our liberty and privacy is also threatened by transponder chips in automobiles, which can allow a satellite to monitor a vehicle's location and also disable it by an electronic signal. RFID chips embedded in smart cards, an acronym set to stand for satellite monitoring and remote tracking, and even cell phones, some of which can be used to track the owner's location even when the phone is turned off. Still more ominously, the technology already exists to implant in the hand of human beings a tiny microchip no larger than a grain of rice. This chip would allow the bearer to operate personal electronic devices, enter restricted areas, and conduct financial transactions while also being subject to electronic monitoring and control. A potentially horrifying scenario many commentators would identify with the mark of the beast mentioned in Revelations chapter 13, verses 16 to 17. Our booming economy masks the tragic suffering of a permanent underclass, an insupportable national debt, and a coming financial crisis in Medicare and Social Security. An unprecedented series of natural disasters, with Hurricane Katrina being but one example, has prompted many people to wonder whether humanity may be threatened by climatic change or other natural forces beyond our control. Some scientists pronounce dire warnings. At the same time, Others disrespect the divine origin of and authority over human life by conducting experiments in genetic cloning and embryonic stem cell research, even as inconvenient or unwanted persons, for example, Terry Schiavo, are euthanized in the name of compassion. The greatest of America's sins, the one most responsible for the coming divine judgment upon our country, is abortion. Since the 1973 Supreme Court decision, which invalidated all restrictions on abortion, over 45 million unborn children have been murdered in the womb. Not only will their absence rob our society in coming years of increasingly needed workers and taxpayers, the blood of these innocent victims cries out to God. Referring to our present age, Mother Teresa of Calcutta once stated that war is caused by abortion. In other words, a nation that murders its young forsakes divine protection and renders itself naked before its enemies. As an historical example, we need only look to Paris and Warsaw in the last century. These two capitals of Catholic European countries were the continent's centers for abortion in the 1930s, and both, especially Warsaw, suffered terribly after being conquered by the Nazis in World War II. The Lord's words to the prophet Ezekiel may have a special relevance to our times. Woe to the city, or country, which sheds blood within herself, so that her time has come, which has made idols, technology, sports, and entertainment, for her own defilement. By the blood which you shed, you have been made guilty, and with the idols you made, you have become defiled. You have brought on your day, so that the end of your years has come. Chapter 22, verses 3 and 4. More than 5 years after 9/11, our nation's borders are still porous and largely unprotected, and government officials privately worry over the very real possibility that terrorists may have already infiltrated the United States with weapons of mass destruction. A future attack using biological, chemical, or even nuclear weapons could occur as part of large-scale terrorist assault on America. There's also a chance it may be a prelude to, or take place in conjunction with, a larger war. Fatima fulfilled. Our Lady revealed at Fatima in 1917 that Russia would spread her errors throughout the world. She also stated that the Holy Father would have much to suffer and that certain nations would be annihilated. However, she promised that if Russia were consecrated to her Immaculate Heart, that nation would be converted, and a period of peace would be granted to the world. Many experts agree that the requested consecration has not yet occurred, for it requires the Holy Father, in union with the majority of the world's Catholic bishops, to mention Russia specifically, and Pope John Paul II himself acknowledged that his 1984 consecration of the world to Mary's Immaculate Heart did not fulfill this condition. Moreover, there are also many who believe, as I do myself, that the official text of the Third Secret of Fatima, released in 2000, may have omitted or held back an important part of Our Lady's message. Father Paul Kramer, a noted scholar and expert on the subject of the Third Secret, says it's his belief that the message of the Third Secret is far more frightening than most people realized, and that the fulfillment of the prophecy it contains is imminent. In the interview, he states, based on the reported prophecies of a German priest, a mystic, whose veracity is attested to by another German priest I regard as utterly trustworthy, we can surmise that the year 2008 will see the outbreak of war, and 2011 the consecration of Russia and the beginning of the period of peace spoken of by Our Lady of Fatima. The period of chastisement may continue past 2011, but by 2013 the chastisement will have ended, and this may be the actual year of the triumph of the Immaculate Heart. Emphasis added. Well, here we are in 2020. We haven't had a chastisement yet, although there are rumblings of things happening. Moreover, while Father Kramer cautions us not to assume these dates are certain and entirely reliable, he notes that in 1997, the great scholar Malachi Martin stated that everything would be finished in less than 20 years. According to Father Kramer, in 1991, Our Lady again appeared to Sister Lucy, the last of the three Fatima visionaries, and informed her that the third secret would be revealed after the outbreak of a major war. This corresponds with Our Lady's messages to Sister Elena Aiello, who died in 1961, which revealed that Russia, in a sudden and unexpected war, would overrun all of Europe. This would also explain Pope John Paul II's 1980 statement that prematurely revealing the third secret would encourage the communists to take certain steps. That is, an announcement by the Church that they would have successfully invade Europe might provoke that very event. The outbreak of World War III can be certainly expected to disrupt the life of the Church in Europe, perhaps even ushering in a religious schism or persecution. Father Kramer speculates that Pope Benedict XVI will then reveal the remainder of the third secret, as there will no longer be any point in hiding it. However, because of the need to go into hiding, he will be unable to organize the consecration in time, and he may indeed be the future pope mentioned in the part of the third secret released in 2000, who is described as fleeing a devastated city of Rome, only to be hunted down and killed by the enemies of the Church. In the early 1990s, notes Father Kramer, the Romans stigmatist Antonio Ruffini revealed that the consecration of Russia to the Immaculate Heart would not be performed by either John Paul II or his successor, but by the next pope, that is, by the pope who will follow Benedict XVI. The interview with Father Kramer in the Fatima Crusader contains much additional important information and is well worth reading in its own right. World War III. Is a major war actually possible? Can the United States, as the world's only superpower, actually be in danger? Won't America somehow be exempt from divine judgment? These questions and similar objections will naturally occur to many people, but the facts and possibilities are far from reassuring. Russia has continued, even in the face of economic dislocations and societal impoverishment, to build up its military forces, especially nuclear-armed missiles. An overextended American military would be hard-pressed to help the weak and unprepared armies of Europe resist a sudden Russian invasion. Would the United States be willing to risk a nuclear war under the circumstances? Moreover, Russia would be unlikely to strike without first coordinating its plans with other potential enemies of America, most specifically China. The Chinese have been preparing to fight what they call an asymmetrical war with the United States, that is, one which doesn't directly engage America's powerful military forces, but instead targets our computer, communications, and control systems. Military communications and weapons targeting systems are highly dependent on global positioning satellites. Damaging or destroying this network might instantly render the United States a helpless giant. China's successful test of an anti-satellite interceptor early in 2007 shows that this scenario is more than just a hypothetical possibility. The conquest of the island nation of Taiwan remains a Chinese priority, and a Russian invasion of Europe would provide an ideal opportunity for the Chinese to attempt this, while at the same time rendering a permanent blow to American power and prestige. Several alleged visionaries, including one known to me personally, have spoken of a coming Chinese invasion of America's west coast, a scenario previously unthinkable, but which might become possible either due to a successful asymmetrical war or as the result of a series of devastating storms and natural disasters crippling our national defense in the Pacific region. In that regard, it's important to remember that the German stigmatist and visionary Therese Neumann informed some U.S. soldiers about after World War II, that because of America's traditional generosity, God would never allow it to be conquered militarily, but would, if necessary, allow it to be punished by the elements. Even if an enemy invasion of our country, perhaps coordinated with terrorist attacks, was ultimately defeated, the economic and societal cost to America would be staggering.